Now, guys, just a quick introduction to myself. When I first came down to Renatus, and I was stuck. I was frustrated. I was a teacher that was loving teaching, but not loving what the result of my paycheck was. And I didn't feel like I had the direction that I needed to be able to take my life to that next level. And I'm really grateful for what Renatus has done for me to build my skill set, my tool set, and my mindset. And man, the rest is just history. I'm really grateful to be here today and be invited to share a quick property that I came across this week. We're going to go through some numbers with you guys, and then send you on your way to learn a little bit more about what's possible with real estate, all through the Renatus system that we have here. We have such a great vault of education and experience that is contained in our back office. And I'm really grateful to be here. Now, I'm going to try and share my screen really quick with you guys and make sure that that I can share some of the cool things that this property is all about. So first off, when I pull this up, this is a brand new listing, and I'm going to show you by pictures, because we literally got our pictures in today, which I'm pretty excited about. This is in Price, Utah, guys. What's cool here is we share a lot of the value intermingled in our community. I have a skill set as a short-term rental operator, and I've been running my business as an arbitrage business, meaning I rent a property, then I re-rent it out. And I learned a skill set how to manage properties and make money on Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com. And this was my first property where I actually took on a co-hosting role, where instead of just having to come up with the rent myself, having to cover all of the expenses myself, doing all the elements of raising the capital and putting it to work, what I have done here is I'm using somebody else's property. They're footing the bill for all the expenses and the upkeep on it, and then I get a portion on the very back end, saying, hey, here's your fee for managing this listing. And what was interesting is I've been struggling a little bit as an arbitrage host, and doing something like this, your upfront cost is just your time to make sure that your listings are built out, and your upfront cost is making sure that your systems are put in place in a way that allows you to go and create a marketable listing. So anyway, here's this listing in Price, Utah. This is the one that I wanted to talk about, our subject property for today. And what's really neat about this property, my friend, he was able to pick this up in Price, Utah. They've been running it about a year now. It made 26K its first year, a little over 26K, just under 27K gross, which was okay, right? It did pretty well its first year. I picked this up this last, it was last Thursday, I think, maybe last Wednesday. So I've had about a week and got pictures done on it, and we've updated a handful of things as far as maintenance. But what's cool is when you have a vision of what's possible and how you can take an existing property and increase the value of it. So these right here, this is called a twilight shot, and I love these because it adds a little bit more attractiveness to the sky, and it makes you kind of come into the picture, and it looks a little bit more like a lifestyle shot because of the way that the background is there. The colors are really beautiful, and hopefully this makes people want to come and enjoy this hot tub area, right? And check this out. One of the reasons why I'm sharing these pictures with you is so that you can see basically what this property looks like, and then we're going to actually talk a little bit more about this strategy. And after I share this strategy with you, we'll open up to some questions, and then we'll talk about how you could actually potentially get a little bit more information on how you could do similar things. Now, this isn't going to be the strategy for everyone. Some people want to come into real estate because they are, they're like, hey man, I've got no time. I want to make sure I can create some passive income. I want to make my money grow. Or you're like, hey, I've got a lot of opportunity, but I don't know what I'm doing. I want to make sure I understand what I'm doing, so I don't create some bad bad deals and take me out of the way, or take me out of the game completely, right? There's some people that come down because they want to increase their lifestyle. And they're like, hey, real estate's the best way that I know to increase my lifestyle. And some people come down because they want a new group of friends. Some people come down because they see our system. They're like, hey, people in this have been not just making money, but they've been making money consistently. They're doing deals all over. We've got people in our community. We got 20,000+ people that have gone through this system and been able to see success in different ways. I'm so stoked to be able to share this with you. And some people come down because they just want to see proof that this works, and not just that it works for others, but that it can work for them. So here's a way that I've been able to apply the education this week, and some of the things that have helped me see possibilities for myself and possibilities for others. So stepping back one more, this is a property that I barely picked up last week. It's in Price, Utah. Really awesome opportunity because I have $0 in it, and any money that I make from it, think about this, is going to be an infinite return. Kind of an interesting way to think about it. And picked up this property. It's a little bit off the beaten path because it's in Price, Utah, but it's in a very convenient part of town because it's like half a mile from the college there. Now here's the interior. One of the things I love about doing like newer photos is after we take the photos, I have my guy go and add a picture over the television screen, because if you have just a big black spot there, people are going to ask you, hey, does that television actually work? And I try and eliminate as many questions as possible from the photos. So here's the living room. This is one of those interesting moments where my photographer, he missed one of the rooms, which was nuts. But I took one of the previous listings photos, and I was able to take a little bit more pixelated image, shrink it down a little bit, and then make this seem really, really attractive and exciting. So this is a loft, and it's a kid's room where it has like a little clubhouse, some toys, some foosball, and just kind of an interesting space as far as this old type of home. Now here's one of the bedrooms, which I think is just very attractive. All these are queen size beds. Typically when I build out a unit, I like to have king size beds, but this is a very petite house, a little bit tighter as far as the square footage. So queens actually fit this space a lot better than a king. Now, this is a 4-bedroom, if you count that loft, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. And one of the things I really like about the way this space works is you have a lot of functionality, and you also have not just functionality, but you can actually see that there's some fun elements here on top of just being functional, because you want to have form and function. I really like the way that this furry cow, basically, this bull turned out. I think it looks really nice. And one of the other things with these types of properties that I love to highlight, especially when I am doing any type of property, is why do people come to the area, right? I look here and people come to Price, Utah because they want to come and see rodeos, right? They might come because they're traveling nurses. You have people that want to come and experience maybe the raceway. You've got people that are there for, camping, but they don't want to actually sleep outside, right? They want to go and experience, maybe the lake over at Huntington State Park, or they want to go to the prehistoric museum right next to the college, or go to the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry. There's myriads of attractions that draw people to this area. And if you can really picture who your ideal client is, and you're like, hey, this is someone that I know would love to come to this area, that's already in the area looking for accommodations on a short-term basis, then you can start to create your messaging geared towards those people. Now, sometimes people come for day hikes. Sometimes people come for outdoor excursions. Others will come because they want to go and maybe hike or ice climb or do fishing. And then a lot of times, this is something that's interesting. I like to position my properties close to universities. I found that a lot of people will come in to see, graduations. They'll come in to see theatrical productions, concerts. They'll want to drop off their kids. So anytime you have a university really close by, this one's 0.4 miles away, that's going to be a huge draw for for your place, right? This is just a fun activity with families, and where I'm gearing this place to market towards families, I wanted to make sure that they saw how much fun that would be to go to the desert wave pool. You got Carbon High School, which is, it's interesting to even put a high school in here, but a lot of times you'll have technicians that come in to fix AC units, or you'll have construction workers that will go and fix different things for high schools. And I've actually multiple times had people come into my short-term rentals specifically for the reason of fixing either like an audio system. I've had that over at North Sanpete High School in Mount Pleasant. I've had people go and fix flooring or any type of maintenance during the summer. Very, very common reason that people will come into the area. Now, here's another thing. This is a brand new listing. I have my first guest that is staying in there. They came in yesterday. And what's cool is I have a whole year's worth of previous reviews that was done by another host in this unit. And since I'm taking over this one, I was able to take some of these reviews and make a slide for them, right? So these are Price Utah and some of the nice things that people come and experience here. And when you show this credibility, right, this proof that the people come and they like it, you're creating more intrigue and more reasons for people to book, right? Eliminating a lot of those questions. And one of the things I think is very helpful, this is something I've only done probably the last year, is doing your very best to eliminate any questions that you can. Like for Wi-Fi, hey, what's the speed of your Wi-Fi? I literally have a picture in here. It's a 1 gig Wi-Fi, right? And then this is something that I do that's increased my bottom line, is I ask for early arrival fees, right? Not very many people, necessarily want to come 5 or 6 hours early, but if they do, that's extra revenue for your business. And I'll bet at least 2 to 3 times a month, I will have someone come and say, hey, you know what? I would like to come 5 or 6 hours early. And if I have availability, that is great, because the previous night it never booked out. But if I did have a previous booking, then my cleaners are trained that if I have someone that wants to arrive early and they paid 2 o'clock is the cutoff to make sure they're done, so they can accommodate that. So I make an extra $25 per booking if they want that. So pretty sweet. Now, this is another thing that I find very, very valuable, is the pet fee. Right? If you go and you ask, hey, do you want to have a pet fee attached to your unit? And then the cleaner is going to come in. They still have to make sure there's no hair anywhere. They make sure everything is pristine, it's clean, you've got the good reviews. And if you're going to pay them that little bit extra, there's no reason why you couldn't charge. And this is just a great way to increase the value of your booking. So now that was a quick property tour via pictures of this little space in Price, Utah. Barely picked it up. Hope that was helpful for you. And I wanted to actually open the floor up to some questions, because the reason that I did this unit is, one, I didn't have any upfront costs, which is pretty sweet. Number two is I picked this up and I get to net 20% of the gross profits. Now, when you have a skill set of managing short-term rentals and you have systems in place, then picking up other units, you can plug them into that system and it doesn't cost you as much. Your first one will always cost you more because you're in the learning process. But as soon as you built out your systems, then you can add in that extra value of saying, hey, I've been there, I've done that, this is what my experience is. Now you can get paid for your expertise. And I know this is very scalable, because you think about it, anytime you have another property, they just follow those same acquisition channels, you follow the same setup, you can build all those different elements, and then you have another unit that's producing income. And you have these units of production, and eventually, bam, you're able to really create some awesome stuff. So, all right, now what questions do you guys have about either short-term rentals or about this specific property? Happy to answer them. I wanted to open this up because this is a very simple property. I didn't have any, my upfront cost was $0. My friend, he just wanted some extra help. And property management is not necessarily something that I originally wanted to go into. But when you have skills that you develop, it is just another way to make some money. Now, eventually, I can actually turn this 100% over to my virtual assistant. The upfront setup, that's where there's some, there's some elements that need to be tweaked. But eventually, I actually work myself out of this and I just give it to my virtual assistant and say, keep the machine going. And that's what I love about this. Whether I have 10 or I have 30 or 50, I can do the same thing. Get it set up, make sure it's working, and then say, keep it going. So, all right, what questions do you guys have? We've got Jerry, we've got Gilbert, we've got William, Kim, Scarlett, Angela, Tom, and Gamer on the line. So welcome one more time to our house tour. I'm grateful I was able to share at least a little bit about what's going on here. If you guys have any specific questions, would love to answer those right now. Let's see, I'll open the floor up for a moment. Go ahead if you have any questions. Yes, good evening, Scarlett and Angela.
Well, I'll come out.
Fantastic. Hey, Gamer, how you doing, brother?
Good. Hey, so I actually have done what you're doing. I'm not doing it currently, but I do have some curiosity surrounding, this particular unit. You brought it into your portfolio as a management property, and you said it was an operating unit before you took over management. That's right?
Correct.
When you brought it into your ecosystem, you say you didn't have any cost yourself, but did you require certain things be changed in terms of systems and whatnot in order so that everything would play nicely with what you were already doing with your other properties?
So they didn't have Vivint. I typically use Vivint, but I currently am wanting to go to a different security system. So I just wanted to see what they already had in place. And I took it as is. So I took their digital lock system, which is called, what was it? Sifely. I think that's how you say it. Sifely, Sifely. And that's the lock system that they use. It's remote. So it basically plays the exact same way as any Vivint system. Mm-hmm. The one thing I don't like about it is that they don't have the same access to everything in one app, but that's not a huge deal. The other thing was they use Cielo Homes, which is a app that like allows you to use the thermostat from afar.
Right.
I liked how Vivint was on one little app, but anytime you have a new system, it's just important to figure out, all right, what are the regular things that people are doing? What are they already used to? Figure it out and you get used to it. And then if you need a tweak, make minor tweaks. Basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know that for our stuff, we would try to keep everything as homogeneous as possible because we also had, a VA team that would, once everything was established, they would kind of take over. And the fewer systems that they had to learn the ins and outs of, the better.
For sure.
Right. So if they could just know that, hey, for this lock, this is the kind of lock we have, this is the kind of camera we have, this is the kind of TVs we have. If people have questions about how to operate things, we know how to just look up one set of instructions for every component of what's inside of that unit, so that we don't have to sit there and be like, Steve, where are you at? What does this place have compared to this other place?
Right.
Exactly.
And that's one of the reasons why I like to have all of them in one easy to use system. But the other thing is you have to figure out, is it worth the risk to have to train someone on those other units? And for me, exactly. I wanted to figure out if Sifely was something that I wanted to use, or if I want to use Sleg. And I didn't have any experience with it. So I was like, I think it'll be worthwhile to see if I like it.
Test it out.
Exactly. And then I didn't have any upfront cost to do that.
Sure.
Except for the time that it takes to build out that listing. And it does take time. Like, it's not like there's no work involved in making sure that all of the elements and systems are playing nicely together and discovering what is working and what isn't working. And it's a unique challenge, but
so something else I was thinking about, since this is kind of a different approach to playing in the realm of real estate, you're more in the hospitality and management, especially with this property you're managing for someone else, a real estate that they own. How is it that you have approached going about saying, yes, I will take this on in terms of location, in terms of size and offering and everything like that? What are the criteria that you've decided to put into place to qualify a property to be a management consideration for your company?
For me, I have to make minimum 500 bucks or the potential of 500 plus dollars per month to have it feel like it's even kind of worth it.
Mhm.
So that was my baseline. And when I saw this one, it looks like it's going to make around $3,000 on average per month, maybe $3,500
Gross revenue.
gross revenue. Okay.
Mhm.
And my take is off of gross revenue. So let's say even if they stay at 3,000, so 3,000 per month, the gross revenue on that, if I take 20%, is $600, right? And if it goes to, let's say, 3,500, right? That's a gross revenue. You times that by 20, then I'd make $700 for that month for doing the same work that I would be doing on my own units and having none of the upfront costs. Does that make
Awesome.
sense?
Yeah,
So that's why I was like, man, that this is a way to make my business scale even faster than it was before. And the
sure.
only difference was, instead of trying to help landlords see how valuable renting a property is uh, with a extreme eye for detail and making sure that it's marketed well and that everything is well maintained all the way through. Instead of trying to convince any landlord about that, you say, hey, owner of the property, you've already been struggling with getting your short-term rental, on your own, figured out and managed well. Let me take that over, manage it even better than you've been doing it. You'll make more money because it's being well managed and the systems are good. You're getting better reviews. I know what I'm doing. And then because they're making more money, I get to make money off of that as well. And it's
So
just
I love that you brought that up because you're doing what we are trained to do as in real estate investing is to go in, find a problem that requires a solution.
yeah.
And in this case, the solution or the problem was this owner, were they self-managing previously or
So they had a larger company managing it, but that other company was really struggling to find cleaners and trying to struggle to find maintenance because they're like, well, I don't know anybody out there, and they weren't
they weren't
making
local?
they weren't local, and they weren't making effort to find more people. So sometimes they would block the calendar for like a week and a half to be able to get it cleaned.
Oh, wow.
And that's not a way to run a hospitality business. You just can't do it like that and have it be profitable. So I said, well, my first week, I'm going to find some people for you. And I was able to find like 7 different contacts down there that are options to be cleaners. I'm
Mhm.
hustling to find contacts because contacts are contracts. I learned that from Grant Cardone. But
Yes.
it's so important to make sure that we are networking with intention. And then you're saying, well, what's the actual problem here? The problem with that previous unit was, well, they didn't dare market it because they couldn't fulfill on the cleanings, and they
Right.
felt like their hands were tied because they couldn't actually turn the units. But if you can turn the unit and you feel confident, then market the.
Were there any other considerations for why they might be wanting to switch management companies outside of that issue?
Yeah, so their baseline for this property, they need to cover about $2,200 a month to make money, right?
Mhm.
And what they were doing before was just basically breaking even. And they're like, well, it's not really worth it if we're paying all of our money to, or all of our profits to the property manager and not making any money ourselves. I said, well,
Mhm.
you need to increase your marketing. You also need to increase your value that you're creating for people.
And so that other company, were they using a proprietary marketing platform? Were they using Airbnb only? Were they
They're
what were
only
they?
using Airbnb, and it was just not performing very well. So yeah,
Yeah. So I'm assuming that with the education that you've been tapped into, you were able to look at that and say, hey, yes, Airbnb is one marketing
yeah,
platform and we need to definitely be there, but we also need to make sure we're optimized for the area make sure
Exactly.
that the listing has everything in it that is going to drive the algorithm to put eyeballs on your property so that you can have the kind of traffic that you need. And also make sure that we can have the boots on the ground that will facilitate you having the ability to stay open all of the nights that you're available. All right.
Right. You
So it's ready.
need to have those days on the calendar. Otherwise, it's kind of like a fisherman that goes, and if he doesn't actually have his hook in the water, then he's not fishing. He's doing all the things, preparing the bait and tying the hook, but it's how long do you have that hook actually in the water with the bait on it? That's what's going to make the difference. If you're blocking your calendar the majority of the time, you're not going to have that result. So
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, did that answer your question? Was that helpful?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tools obviously out there for evaluating the viability of an area in terms of occupancy and expected predictable revenue during different seasons of the year. I'm assuming that you kind of dug into some of that
Yeah, I
um,
dug in using
travel data and
AirDNA.
stuff like that.
Yeah, AirDNA is the tool of choice for me.
Mhm.
Um, I I also like to use Rentler just to find out what the baseline uh, long-term rents were. If they're like, hey, I need to transition to that, because if it's not going to work as a long-term rental, then there's a chance it might not work as well as a short-term rental. But if it will work as a short-term or a long-term rental, then the chance of it working as a short-term rental goes up significantly, and you have more
Yeah.
confidence going into it too. So
And then I was curious, what other platforms or um, customer acquisition um, focuses have you been putting into place to help improve the likelihood of staying profitable both for you and for your client?
yeah, so I use the top three uh, online travel agencies or OTAs. So Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com. Those are the three that I use. And I also have been using Facebook at times. I haven't had a lot of success off of Facebook, but it's just getting your name out there. And I have had word of mouth, which I think sometimes is from Facebook, but you never know.
Right,
And
right.
I mean, I've used Furnish Finder. I've never really found any success with Furnish Finder because my units are typically a little too nice for them to want to pay the full price.
Oh, I'm well aware of the
Yeah,
traveling nurses
the
cat
traveling nurses.
folks.
But this unit is actually going to be great for Furnish Finder because I've got two smaller units on the floor, the ground floor level, and those ones I actually could totally be affordable for nurses.
Oh,
The top
nice.
one I don't think will be affordable for them unless they have three nurses staying there. But yeah, it'll be good. And I mean, sometimes using uh, other platforms can be helpful, but focusing on those three, Booking.com, Airbnb, and VRBO, that's where I've gotten 95% of my business. I have a direct booking website, Staybnbee.com. And I've had a handful of direct bookings, but most of the time those are my repeat guests, not a new
Right, right.
acquisition.
No, and it's a good thing to have in place for offering being able to offer your guests a better rate
Mm-hmm.
while still being able to take home more money. And the way that that works, for those of you who are not familiar, of course, these third-party platforms are going to charge a listing fee or a portion of your revenue for the privilege of them marketing your property on their platforms.
Okay.
And if you can get some of these people to come back a second, third, fourth, fifth time and just come directly to your website, then you don't have to be out that money. You can actually charge a little bit less money to the customer while collecting more money yourself since they were already paying that money to someone else before.
Yeah, it's a huge value add because you think about it, if you're making more money, your staying power goes up. And if they're paying less money, their motivation to stay with you again goes up.
Right.
It's a huge win-win. So I really like having my direct booking website and having people go through that because systems wise, it's the exact same for me, but I make more money. So it's like awesome. And they pay less. So they're actually happier customers because you're
Yeah.
over delivering. And that's what's cool.
I would also be interested in finding out what you could do in terms of a midterm stays
Yeah.
in that area.
Yeah, that's something that I think will be key during some of the slower seasons. But yeah,
Cool. Congratulations. I think
thank you.
that the biggest flex of this whole strategy and this approach of doing a management of someone else's short-term rental property is, like you said, there's no upfront costs. There's really no costs if you do it the way you did it. All of that is the burden of the owner to furnish it, to pay all the utilities, to pay the mortgage, all of that stuff. They're ultimately responsible. They're just hiring you for your expertise in getting it booked, right? And so literally you're getting a good cash flow out of this property that you could compare to any regular long-term investment.
Yeah.
It's even more of a cash flow than some of the long-term investments that people have out there in terms of long-term rentals,
Right.
and without any of that upfront cost.
Yeah, you're getting rid of the upfront costs, and you're also getting a ton of experience. And I think part of it is you get paid with experience, and the more proof of concept you see, the easier that your confidence is to say, hey, I'm gonna dive in with both feet with the right property.
Right.
So for me this year, I want to pick up a handful of properties for myself, right, and purchase them, not do the arbitrage model where you rent and then re-rent.
Mhm.
And that's kind of that next phase of short-term rentals for me, because you look at our leader Bob Snyder. He's got one of the coolest rental properties I've ever seen, up at Fish Haven, Idaho. And that place, it can rent out for thousands and thousands of dollars a night.
Mhm.
And you think about what's possible with beachfront properties and some of these really nice luxury properties. I stayed in one in Chicago a few months back with Bob Tierney, who's another great leader in our community. And when you see the numbers on some of these larger properties, you get taken aback. You're like, they gross like 60,000 in 1 month. You're like, that's
Right.
some rentals for the whole year.
Yeah,
And
and that, even then, that's kind of high for some rentals for a whole year.
that's a month in a luxury short-term rental. So that's the type of stuff that gets me really excited, is seeing what's possible when you're playing at that next level. I'm just looking to level up every single day and do what I can to make that work. So
Awesome. Well, I'll step down off my podium.
no
If
worries.
anybody else has
Gamer, thanks so
questions,
much for sharing
come
your
on up.
insights. I know you've been here a handful of years, and I love the insights. And we've only got a few minutes left, so about 3 minutes, man, that flew by. But is it okay, guys, if I give you just our epic solution really quick? We're going to do a snapshot of why this Renatus system works so well. We call it our epic plan. The E is for education, guys. If you don't pay for your education, right, and get it from the right sources, eventually you're going to pay for your education by losing money or really having some challenges happen in your life with real estate. And one of the things I love about our education system, our platform, I'm actually going to share my screen here. I'm going to pull up our website so you can actually see what our platform looks like. And no, so this is called myrenatus.com. myrenatus.com. This is where I learned everything that I needed to know about real estate investing and about building my own business. Now, when you dive in and see what's possible, we've got 90 different courses. It's all about the education that is specific to what you want to accomplish. We have some awesome education, guys. I do not have enough time to really dive in and show you all of the amazing things that are here, but just know that our course library is extensive. Here's all the different learning paths. We talked about this one learning path of the 10 that we've got here, right? These are the classes that help me build confidence and competence in doing this strategy. Now, this is not the only way to do real estate. I gave you a little snapshot, one exit strategy to make money in real estate. But you know what's cool? We've got 90 plus classes. I'm just going to scroll down here. Look at this, 90 plus classes, all about how to take you from where you are to where you want to be, so you can increase your lifestyle, so you can go out there, increase your opportunity by making new friends and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. Look, this guy that taught me short-term rentals, Jay Massey, he is making over $1 million a month in this strategy. Just nuts. It's so cool what's possible when you see this strategy done at the right level and done with the right intention. So that's who I'm learning from. And what's cool is when you have the right education, you start to see opportunities and create opportunities. So that's the E in our EPIC plan. Now, P is for profits, right? And properties. You can create profits in lots of different ways, whether that's through business or whether that is through buying and holding real estate, whether that is through flipping and fixing and flipping houses. There's so many different ways that you can make money in doing and applying this education that I'm just so stoked to share this little idea with you. There's also income, guys. This the I in our EPIC plan is about income. There is something amazing when you come down and you see what's possible here. You create this possibility. Like, what if I could go and pick up a short-term rental like this? I could learn the system so that I could pick up a rental and make an extra $600 every single month. What would that do for you? What if you're able to do 5 or 10 or 20 of those? How would that change your life? Right? And that's just one of the 90 strategies that we teach. Right? What is that income opportunity for you? There's also an income opportunity by sharing these classes, which I don't even have time to go into. Just know that these classes are something that are time tested. They've been proven day in and day out that the quality of our instructors, these are practitioner instructors. These are people that have been there, they've done that. I've been watching these classes for the last 4 years, and there are some of the best individuals in business. Rob Sperry, I play pickleball with this guy all the time. He's so good at what he does, building social media content, short-term rentals with Randall Cloud. You got building your business with Steve Larson. There's so much valuable content, but I don't want to get stuck in the weeds here, guys. Our EPIC plan, that last C, is about the community. Now, when I come here and I hit refresh, I actually want you guys to do this on your own. This is called our Real Estate Walk of Fame. This Walk of Fame is actually something we do every single year at our national conference with our community. These are people that come in and they watched the education, they did the education, and then they are applying the education. They're making money and finding their own path into entrepreneurship and investing in real estate. And you can see they answer these different questions. This is one of my good friends, Michael Huggins.
From
I'm gonna let you
Tennessee
hear.
now. I've been a part of Renatus for nearly 11 years. I've done 26 deals, and I got a 240-acre forest.
Man, so this is how simple this is. You'll hear an hour plus of testimonials that how long they've been with us, what they've done, how many deals they've done, and then what Renatus has meant for them. This is one of my favorite videos.
Oh, nicely.
And one of the other things that's really cool here, guys, you can do this without ever buying our education. You can come in here, check out what these offerings are. You tap on this education tab, right? And you dive down here. Our essentials, this is our, literally everybody needs this education, right? The basics, the foundational elements of understanding what's possible for yourself. You dive in with that. You've got AIT. This is all our different exit strategies in real estate. And then you also have profits, which is how to do your business and run your business like a business. So if you come down here on the education tab, you click course catalog, hit view, you can actually see a ton more and start to get some answers to questions that you have. You're like, hey, is this something that can work for me? Could I go out there and run my own short-term rental? Could I go out there and buy 10 houses in the next 10 years? Could you go and create those possibilities for yourself? You can come and see different testimonials. You can see what's possible, get to know a little bit more about Bob Snyder, our CEO. And you'll even get to hear a little bit more about our EPIC plan, right? That's the P for EPIC, income opportunity here, because it's not just about the education, it's about doing real estate deals. That's one way to make money. Then you share your success, and we have an income opportunity with Renatus as well. And that's what blows my mind, is how cool this opportunity is. Our product makes people money. Sharing our product makes people money. And if you have come this far, my guess is you've seen some value today. You see that there is possibilities for yourself in this. And I hope that you can take that next step. Invite or ask the person that invited you down to say, hey, how do I get started? What's my next step? And really set a strategy session with them. Figure out what will be of most value for you. Ask yourself, where do I want to go next? How does real estate fit into that plan? How does running my own business fit into that plan? And how can I take advantage and get the same benefits of real estate investing in entrepreneurship that we're currently getting?